Hey, so if you ever wanted to transform your long-form videos into short-form content using AI, all done automatically, then this video is just for you. I'm gonna teach you exactly how to do that with no-code tools, so let's look at a demo right now. Okay, so first of all, this is the video that we'll be using as a test example. So this is the long video that we'll be transforming to short-form content, and it's just a simple Alex Hormozy podcast, as you can see. So right now this video is inside my YouTube channel, and this automation right here will actually create all of the short-form clips, and it'll trigger from this RSS feed that's from my YouTube channel. So now I'm gonna click on run once, and now it's creating the short-form clips. Okay, so the short clips have just finished generating and they populated over into this Google Sheet right here. So from this long Hormozy podcast, we got these 4 short clips, and this Google Sheet step isn't really necessary because you can also automatically post it as soon as a short clip has generated, but I wanted to add this as an extra functionality to have more control over the shorts that you post. But anyways, here as you can see we have the URLs of the short clips as well as the AI generated titles for each of them. And in this case, let's just check this third one right here, which is called Rethinking Work-Life Balance in Terms of Seasons Rather Than Daily Splits. So that sounds pretty cool, so let's just go into that video right now. And boom. As you can see, we have the fancy captions, the Hormozy captions. If you don't remember this video, Hormozy was like in the right side of the screen. And right now, Hormozy is centered right in the middle, so it actually reframed the video as well. And of course, it can also reframe for other people like this host right here. So as you can see, everything is working perfectly inside this short form clip. And to actually post this short clip, we have to put in a capital Y in this column right here. And when we do that, it'll simply trigger this automation right here that posted to Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. So let's do that right now. I'm gonna type in a capital Y and let's wait until all of these columns fill in. So right now, as you can see, it says yes in processed in make. So it means that this automation has just triggered, and let's wait a bit until it posts to IG Reels, and this does take a minute or two. Okay, so it just posted to IG Reels. As you can see, it filled in yes right here. So now let's check my Instagram account. And let's refresh the page real quick. And as you can see here in the Reels, you can see the Hormozy short clip that has been generated posted in here. And 20 seconds ago, the audio is working correctly, the captions, everything is working perfectly. So now let's go back to the Google Sheet, and boom, it has also just posted to YouTube Shorts. So let's go to my channel. Right now I'm in my studio. So let's refresh my page real quick. And again, as you can see, the video is right here. I'm gonna click it so we can see the public view. And boom, the Hormozy clip is right here. The captions, the quality, the audio, everything is working perfectly. So without further ado, let's actually build this thing right now. Okay, so the overview of this video will be how to automatically generate short clips from your long form videos using AI, of course, and how to create the Google Sheet filter tables to pick what shorts you actually want to post. And the requirements for this automation will be to have a make.com free account, because we'll build everything inside there, and the Klap API key, and I'll explain what exactly Klap is in a minute. So right now we'll get started with this first step, which is the most important one and the reason why you're here. The main tool we'll be using for this, apart from make.com, is called Klap. I know you probably know a bunch of tools that transform long form videos into short form content, like Opus clips, but the thing is, not all of them have an API, which is the thing that lets you connect it to other applications. So for example, with Opus, it doesn't have an API. So in this case, you can't connect it, for example, with make.com. So to automate this repurposing process, you would have to manually upload a long video into their site, then let it wait until it generates the short clips, then manually download the short clips and manually post them to your social media platforms. And that's pretty much the reason why having an API for these kind of tools is extremely important, because that whole manual process can be fully automated with tools like make.com or Zapier. So with the API, we'll be able to use AI to get the best parts of a video. We'll be able to reframe whatever the subject is in the video, because we do not want half of the face showing on the short clip. And of course, we'll be able to add those fancy captions automatically. But like I mentioned, to use the Klap API, you need to access your API key first. So to do that, you just create an account on Klap, then go to your account and select account. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can see that it says API here under services. So just click on that, and then you'll see a button to actually create your API key. And to do this, you actually have to put in your credit card information first in the billing section here, because the Klap API is not free, but it's not too expensive either. It's about $1.30 per video. And when it says per video, it's actually per long video that you input. For example, if you input a long video like a podcast and it generates like 7 short clips out of it, then that whole process will cost $1.30 because you only input one video. And in my opinion, that's not bad at all. But anyways, when you have created your API key, you just want to copy and paste it into somewhere safe, just as a good practice. So now that you have your Klap API key, we'll now be creating the actual make.com automation in which we'll use that API to transform your long-form videos into short-form content. Okay, and to start off, we need a trigger. This can be whatever you want to, like whenever your Zoom recording has stopped, so it'll transform your long Zoom recording into short clips. Or maybe whenever you upload a new YouTube video on your channel, or I don't know. In this case, we'll be using whenever you upload a YouTube video on your channel. So to do that, make.com doesn't actually have an integration with YouTube to check if you have uploaded a video or not. So in this case, you can create your own RSS feed from your own YouTube channel for free using this site. It's called mysitemapgenerator.com and its free plan is pretty generous. So what you have to do here is pretty simple. You just go to your YouTube channel and then you have to copy your channel URL and paste that into the RSS generator here and click on start. And as you can see, it can track all of your videos and it gives you a specific link right here. So this link is your actual RSS feed and you just want to copy it. And back in make.com, you would need to create an RSS trigger. So search RSS and click on watch RSS feed items. And here you just have to put in that URL. And in this case, I'm going to put my maximum number of returned items to 1 because I only wanted to return one video. And then just click on OK. And select all RSS feed items, so it'll return all of your videos, just for this testing case. So click on OK, and if I click on run once, it'll actually output my actual video, which is called test long video, which is the video I have right here. And I'm actually going to play it right now so you can see what type of video it is. It's just a simple podcast from Alex Hormozy and this dude right here. I don't know his name. This is just for testing purposes. But yeah, essentially this is the podcast that I want to turn from a long form to short form clips. So whenever this RSS feed triggers, and right now it's at every 15 minutes, it'll output whatever video you have in your YouTube channel. And if you wanted to output the latest YouTube video, then choose where to start, just change it from now on. Okay, so now we have the YouTube video inside our make.com automation. But how do we use that YouTube video to transform it to short form clips? Well, here's where the Klap API comes in, and to call the API we'll use the HTTP request modules in make.com. So after this module right here, just click on add and search for HTTP make a request. So click on make a request here, and to use the Klap API we actually need to call it 5 times, and the first call will be to actually generate the short clips from the long video. And if you're not really technical with APIs, then you can just follow along and do as I do, but essentially everything I do here is in the Klap API documentation, so you can go ahead and read that if you want to. But yeah, the first URL to create the short clips is this URL right here, and you want to change the method to post, and in your headers is where you actually add your API key. So in name, just type in authorization, and here in value you put in your API key, and here in the body type you have to put in raw, and in content type you have to put in JSON, application JSON. And here in the request content is where we'll actually specify what parameters we want to choose. So for example, the duration of the short clips, how many short clips we want, the language of the short clips, and so on. And here I'm just going to paste in this example JSON right here that I got from the Klap API documentation like I mentioned. And as you can see here, where it says source video URL is where you will actually put in the URL that you want to transform to short clips. So in this case, it's our YouTube channel URL. And we actually have it right here because we got it from our RSS feed. So just map this URL right here. And then these are the parts that you can actually customize. So the language is in English, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to translate it to English because I don't want it to translate. In the name, you can leave it as my video. As the target clip count, I actually want 3 videos, so that's good. And max clip count, I actually want 5, so that's good as well. And here in the editing options, I do want captions, so that's why it's in true. I do want to reframe whatever is in the subject, so Alex or Mosey or the other dude. I don't want emojis because they're annoying, and remove silence is true. And here in the dimensions is the actual dimensions of the short clips that will be generated. So I want the normal vertical aspect ratio, you know, for like TikTok, Instagram Reels and so on, which is 1080 pixels by width and 1920 pixels for the height. And here in the style preset ID is just the code, which is the actual preset of a caption style. So you can change the fonts, the color, the size and so on, but in this case I'll just leave it as the default one. And here in the minimum duration is the actual minimum duration of the short clips. So I set it as 20 seconds. And for the maximum duration, I set it as 60 seconds, so a minute. And the target duration is set at 40 seconds. And here, when you have set up all of the parameters, you want to put the parse response as yes, or else this will output some messy JSON, which is not what we want. Okay, so now click on OK, and now you can run this whole thing. So just click on run once. So as you can see, this just ran and it gave us this output right here. And if we see the data that it outputted, it just gives us some ID, some type, some status, and some other bits. And as you can see, we don't have any of the videos right here because, like I mentioned before, this is the first API call out of 5 that we'll do. And to run the second API call, we actually need this important data like the ID right here. And also one more thing, as you can see here in the status, it says processing, which means that the short clips are being generated right now. And to actually check if the short clips have finished processing, then this is the reason why we want to call the second API step. So after this module, just click on plus and search for another HTTP request. So go to HTTP and make a request. So first you have to put in this URL right here that I got from the actual Klap documentation. And at the end, you actually have to map the data that came in with the first API call. And in this case, you want to map the ID. And of course, remember to set parse response as yes. And in the headers, you want to add your API key. So just type in authorization and copy and paste your API key right there. Then click on OK, and that should be the second step. And now let's run this automation again so you can see what this second API call outputs. But wait, hold on. This first API call that we just did actually costs money. So that $1.30 that I mentioned actually triggers whenever you run this specific module right here, which is the first API call. So to actually test this whole flow again, we could click on run once again here, but that'll cost us an extra $1.30. And it'll be really dumb of us to waste all of that money whenever we want to test these flows. So what we're going to do here is right click on this module and click on run this module only. So we don't have to run this and then this one. We can directly run this third module right here. And since this module has some data that we mapped from the past module, then that's what it's asking us right here when I click on run this module only. So it's asking us for this ID. So what we want to do now is actually copy this whole data set right here. So I'm just going to paste it in this notepad right here so I can just easily copy and paste it afterwards. Okay, but anyways, in the second API call, it's asking us for the ID. So I'm just going to copy this ID from our notepad and paste it right here and click on OK. And this is the data that it output. So in the data here, we can see that the status is ready. But let's imagine that the status is still at processing because it took me a while off camera to get to this step. So in your case, the status would probably be at processing, which means the clips aren't fully generated yet. So this is why you want to add a sleep module afterwards. So just click on sleep and set the delay to 300 seconds. Just for safety precaution. And by the way, this second API call isn't really necessary, but I'm just teaching it anyway so you can see what it can actually do. And I've just also changed the name of these modules so you can see what's actually happening. So in the first one, we just generated the short clips from the long video that we input. And in the second API call, we actually get the status of a task. And in this case, the task is the processing of the short clips. So afterwards, the clips would supposedly be in a processing state, which is why we use the sleep module to wait until it's actually ready. And when it's ready, we actually want to list all of the short clips that it generated so we can see them. And the way we can do that is with a third API call that we'll do right now. So add another HTTP module, specifically the make a request one. And in the URL here, you want to put in this URL. And then here in the end, you want to map the output ID. Not the ID like we did before, but the actual output ID. So just click output ID And as always, in the headers, add your authorization, then add your API key as a value, and in parse response, set it as yes. And then we're actually gonna run this module once. So right click on it, click on run this module only, and in the output ID, we want to paste the output ID that we got from our original API call. So copy the output ID and paste it right here, and click on OK. And it just ran, so let's check the data that it has. And as you can see, there's 4 sets of data. And the first one is the actual clip, and actually all of them are the short clips that have been generated. And the cool thing about it is that it actually generates a title for this video. So in this case, it's called The Concept of Specific Ambition versus General Ambition and its Impact on Direction and Anxiety. And then here it actually explains why it thinks it could go viral, and it does this for all of the short clips that have been generated. So now you might think that this is it and you now have the short clips, but no. As you can see, it didn't output the actual URL of the video, and this is because this step just lists the generated short clips, but it doesn't actually render it. So it means we're not finished yet because we're still in the third API call like I mentioned. So the next step that we will do is to actually render it or export it. And as you can see here in the data set, it actually says array. So these 4 short clips are part of one array, which means that if we want to render all of the 4 videos, then we would have to use an iterator. So add another module and search for iterator right here. And then click on iterator. And as you can see, it says array right here. So we have to map in an array. And an array is whatever variable that has these brackets over here. So just map this data array because it was the array that had all of the 4 videos. And then after that, just click on OK, and that's it. And now let's actually go to the 4th API call in which we will actually render the 4 clips. So click on add another module and search for HTTP, make a request. And in the URL section here, just put in this URL. And where it says folder ID, this is just a placeholder, and you actually have to replace it with the folder ID that you got from the iterator. So these are the variables that came from the iterator, and just map the folder ID one right here, and do the same for the actual ID one as well. So the ID one is this one, and just map it right here. Then just change the method to post and add a header in which you will have your authorization name and a value which will be your API key. And then here in body tab, you will have to select raw, and the content tab, you have to select JSON. And in the request content, you can put in this JSON right here that lets you change your preset ID of your captions. So here I just put a random ID that I created just for testing purposes. And then of course, set your parse response as yes. So this was the step to actually render the clips that have been generated. So to test this out, we just click on run this module only. And then here on the folder ID and ID, we have to grab the output that the last API call gave us. So click on this bubble right here from the last API call. And in this case, I'm just going to select a random clip to test it out. So in this case, it's going to be the 3rd one. And let's just copy the folder ID, which is right here, and paste it here. And copy the ID as well. So copy and paste it right here and click on OK. And it's running right now. And it just finished. And then here in the data, you can see all of the data, especially the status, which is at processing, which means that the clip isn't rendered out just yet. And to render out a clip, it'll take about a minute or so. So for safety precautions, we'll just add a sleep module right here and set it as, let's be a bit safe and add 100 seconds, okay? So maybe a minute and a half, and click on OK. And after this 1 minute sleep, then this processing part right here would supposedly change to ready. So to check that, then we have to add this other HTTP get a request module. So click on HTTP and click on make a request. And in the URL right here, you want to put in this URL. And in the folder ID placeholder, just change it with the folder ID that we got from the last API call. So the folder ID is this one, and click on that. And in project ID, again, it's a placeholder, so change it for the actual project ID, which is this one. And in the data ID as well, it's a placeholder, and change it for the data ID, which is this one. Then in the method, leave it as get, and in the headers, of course, add your authorization and your API key. And then in the parse response, you just have to set it as yes, as always. So this step will actually check if the status is set to ready, and that just means that it'll check if the clips are already rendered or not. And of course, it'll also list the URLs of all of the clips. So now let's test this module and right click and click on run this module only. And in the folder ID, we can copy the info from this past module. So in folder ID, it was this one. So let's copy and paste it. In the project ID, it was this ID right here. So again, let's copy and paste it. And last but not least, it was this long ID right here. So let's copy and paste that and click on OK. And oops, as you can see, it already ran. And this is the data that it outputted. And as you can see, the status is ready. So that checks that the video is ready. And of course, it also provided the URL of the actual video. It also gave us the name of the video, which is great for titles, and these descriptions for all of these social media platforms. So let's actually copy and paste this URL into our browser to see what it has. And yep, the video is right here. You can see the captions that it actually reframed Hormozy in the middle. And let's check the whole clip to see if the other dude is right here. Yeah, the other dude is right here as well. Also framed in the middle as well, so that's pretty cool. The captions animated. Okay, so yes, as you can see, everything is working perfectly, and this would be the first part, which is to automatically generate short clips from your long form videos using AI. So that's this first part complete, and now I'm actually going to teach you how to create a Google Sheet filter table so you can actually pick what shorts to post. And of course, you don't have to do this step. This is just if you want more control on the content that you're posting. So to do that, we would actually need a Google Sheet, and I already have mine right here. So you can see that it'll be populated with the dates in which the short clip was created, the URL of the short clip, the title of the short clip, and then this post part is where it will actually trigger another make scenario if I put in this yes right here. And then these columns right here are just to verify that everything is working correctly. And in this case, I'll be posting to IG Reels and YouTube Shorts, so that's why they're right here. So yeah, right now we actually want to populate this bit of the Google Sheet. So let's go back to our scenario and add a Google Sheet module, specifically the one that says add a row, because we'll be adding a row, of course. So select add a row. And first off, you obviously have to connect your Google account with your make.com account. And after that, you can just select your spreadsheet ID. So in my case, it was called YouTube Shorts Picker. So I'm just going to search for that real quick. So YouTube Shorts Clip Picker right here. My sheet name is called Sheet 1. And as you can see, all of the columns appear right here. So right here in the date column, we actually want to map the date in which the short clip was created. So let's map that in, create it at. And then in the short clip URL, we want to map the actual URL of the video. And for the short clip title, we want to map the title. In this case, it's called name. And now let's click on OK to test if everything's working correctly. So right click on the module, run this module only. So since this is a test, I'm just going to put in a random date, in this case today's date. Then in the URL, I'm going to put in random URL, literally. And in name, I'm going to put in name1. And let's check our Google Sheet. As you can see, it's empty. So I'm going to click on OK. And it just ran. So let's check our Google Sheet again. And as you can see, the date, the random URL, and name1 is right here. Okay, so now that we have the data inside Google Sheet, we actually need to create a new scenario so that it can check whenever we put in the Y here, so it can trigger and post to IG Reels and YouTube Shorts. So let's go back to make.com and create a new scenario right here. And the trigger for this scenario will be whenever we put in the Y right here. So to do that, let's just add a Google Sheet module. So search for Google Sheets. And the module that we're actually gonna be using is called Watch Changes. So this is a very great module because it's actually instant. So it'll trigger instantly whenever we put in the Y right here. And if you have ever used a Google Sheet module, then you can see that it's a bit weird right now because it's asking for a webhook. And this is because we actually have to use make.com's add-on for Google Sheets. So here in Google Sheets, go to extensions, then go to add-ons and get add-ons. And then here you just search for make for Google Sheet, and it's this first one right here, so click on it. And then just simply install this add-on. So click on install and do whatever it tells you to do. Okay, so I just installed my extension. So now go back to extensions again, and you should see make for Google Sheets right here. So click on that and click on settings. So here it tells you to put in your webhook URL. So go back to make.com and click on add to add a new URL. And in my case, I'm just gonna name it test G Sheets webhook. and then click on save, and it should give you a webhook right here. So just copy address to clipboard and go back to Google Sheets and paste that right here. Then here just put in your sheet name. In my case it's called sheet 1, so type in sheet 1, and in the range section here, this is very important because without selecting a range, then this webhook right here will trigger whenever any change is made to this Google Sheet. For example, whenever a new URL has been added, then it'll trigger that webhook. Or whenever a new title has been added, it'll trigger a webhook. Not necessarily whenever you put in a Y. And we only want this webhook to trigger whenever you put in the Y here. So in the range here, you actually have to specify in which range it should count the trigger. So in my case, it's from D2 all the way down here. So in the range, I'm gonna put in D2 and D and a really big number like 1000. And once you have that, you can click on save. And it'll take a little bit of time, but then it'll say settings saved successfully, and now you know that it's working. So just click on OK. Okay, so now that we set up this webhook, now let's actually test it. So I'm just gonna delete this one so I can put it in manually. And I'm gonna run this scenario once. So right now it's waiting for a trigger, and I'm gonna put in the Y here. So I'm gonna put in Y, and let's check what happens right here. And as you can see, it triggered and the Y is right here. So everything is working perfectly. Okay, so now that we have the triggered part correct, now let's actually keep building the rest of the scenario. Okay, and when this module has been triggered, we actually want to post to Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. But we also want to update this column right here, which simply lets us know if this video has been processed inside Make. So first off, let's update this column right here. So to do that, just add another module. In this case, it'll be the update a row in Google Sheets. So go to Google Sheets and search for update a row, and here it is. So now let's just connect my spreadsheet to this module right here. So it's called YouTube Short Clips, and it's right here, so I'm gonna pick it. And right here where it says sheet name, I'm gonna put in sheet 1, and the column, or the column that I want to update is called process and make, and I just wanted to say yes. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna click on OK. Oops, of course we actually have to select the row number here. So in this case, just map the row number from this module right here, specifically the row start one. And yep, that would be it. So whenever this triggers and you put in the Y right here, then this box will just type in yes. Okay, and now let's go and actually post it to Instagram and YouTube. So to do that, I'm just gonna divide my scenario into two, and the first one will be to post to Instagram Reels. So in that case, choose Instagram for Business and then select create a reel post. And first, of course, you have to connect your Instagram account. And let's just leave everything empty just for now. And now let's connect the actual YouTube module. So just search for YouTube and upload a video. And here, of course, you have to connect your YouTube account first. And again, let's leave it empty. Okay, so let's start with Instagram Reels first. So in this case, I'm gonna post it to this page right here, which is called tester page. And here in the video URL section is where you'll actually map the URL from the short clip that was generated. So in this case, it was, for example, one of these clips. And to do this, you just need to map it from the row values here in the Google Sheets module. And in this case, the column that we want to map is the B column, because that's where the URL will be. So in the row values, just select the B column right here. And then here in the caption, let's just map the AI generated title that Klap API came up with. So in this case, it was the C column because it's the title. So let's just map in the C column right here. And then we can leave the rest empty. So now click on OK, and that would be it for the Instagram module. Now let's go to YouTube. And of course, you have to connect your YouTube account first. And here in the title, let's again map the title from the Google Sheets column, and it was the C column. And then here in the file section is where you'll actually put the video that will be posted. But in this case, the YouTube module doesn't allow URLs. So the way we would have to do this is to actually download it inside make.com first and then map in the data right here. So now I'm gonna do just that. So first of all, I'm actually gonna disconnect this from YouTube right here. So there's actually many ways to download a video inside make.com. The best way is to select this HTTP module right here, specifically the get a file HTTP module, so you can just map in the URL right here and it'll download the video. But in my case, I'm using the make.com free plan, which only allows a maximum of 5 megabytes of download. And the short clips that are generated are more than 5 megabytes. So in this case, I'm gonna use a free alternative. I'm just gonna use the Cloud Convert module because I have a couple of free tries left, so I'm just gonna take advantage of it. So in Cloud Convert, I'm just gonna select convert a file. and the input file will be import a file from the URL. And in the URL here, I'm gonna put in the actual URL column, which is the B column. And in convert options, I don't really want to convert the file. I just want to download it inside make.com. So in this case, I'm just gonna select MP4. So it'll change from MP4 to MP4. And that's not really converting. That's just so I can download it. And then in the file name, I'm just gonna name it video.mp4. And then download a file. I have to select yes because I do want to download it inside make.com. And that's it. So now let's actually run this module real quick. So click on run this module only, and where it says row values, you just add an item. And remember that the B column had all of the URLs. So in the B column, I'm gonna copy and paste this video URL right here, and I'm gonna click on OK. Okay, so it just finished, and here in the data set, we actually have this weird binary code right here. And this is the exact output that you would have gotten if you would choose the HTTP get a file module. And now, since we're in the same path, let's go back to the YouTube module and map the... Oh, it looks like it hasn't loaded here yet, so I'm just going to delete this module right here. And I'm going to add the YouTube module again. YouTube, and upload a video. And as you can see, the cloud convert is right here already mapped in. So in this case, I'm just going to put the title again, which was the C column, and in video category I'm just gonna put it as gaming for now. In privacy status, I'm gonna set it as public, and in the description I'm just gonna leave it empty, and then I'm gonna click on OK, and that would be it to post to Instagram and YouTube. Okay, so now let's do the last part of this automation, which is to update this part of the Google Sheet. And this is only so the Google Sheet can be a bit more informative. So whenever this automation actually posts to Instagram Reels, then this column will change to yes right here, and the same for YouTube Shorts. So to do that, let's add a Google Sheet module after both of these social media modules. So after Instagram, go to Google Sheets, and the same as the first step, which was update a row, let's select update a row. So let's just search for it right here, and update a row is right here. And let's connect our spreadsheet first. So it was called YouTube Shorts Picker, YouTube Shorts Clip Picker. And in the sheet name, it was called Sheet 1. And then here in the row number, we have to map the row start that we got from the initial trigger right here. And the actual column that we want to update is the F column, which is posted to IG Reels. And let's type in yes. So now let's click on OK, and let's do the same for this YouTube module. So go to Google Sheets, then search for update a row. Then let's search for our spreadsheet, which is called the YouTube Short Clips Picker again. And let's select our sheet name. In the row number, let's map it from the initial trigger, which is row 2. And the column that we want to update is called posted to YouTube Shorts. So let's just type in yes right here, and that would be it. And one last thing I want to add before finishing this automation is to add a filter right here. So whenever this module triggers, or whenever we put in a Y in this column right here, it actually doesn't count if we put in a Y. It'll trigger either way if we put in any other letter. So to check if we put in a Y, let's actually add a filter here that checks for that. So in the condition, just put in the actual column, which is the D column, and set it to Y. So this filter will only let the data pass if we put in a Y. And as another safety feature, let's also add a filter that checks if the video that we put in a Y wasn't already processed in Make. So to do that, just click on the filter and select Add and Rule. And here in the column section, just select the E column, which is the one that we have right here that says Processed in Make. And here where it says Text Operators equal to, let's just change that to Basic Operators and does not exist. So once we have both of these filters, just click on OK, and that would be it for this automation. And now to actually test this automation, I'm gonna put some real data inside this Google Sheet. So in the URL, I'm gonna copy and paste this video URL right here. And in the short clip title, I'm gonna put test video title. And I'm gonna remove this Y. And right now, I'm gonna click on save in this scenario right here. And I'm gonna click on run once. So wait for new data. And right now it's waiting for the Y. So now I'm gonna put in the Y right here, and let's see what happens. I'm not gonna go back to make.com. I'm just gonna see. Okay, so as you can see, it says yes right here. So this first module triggered already, and now as you can see it's posting to Instagram. And let's just wait until it actually says yes right here. So it looks like it's taking a bit of time. I don't know why this Instagram module is a bit slow, but let's just give it its time that it needs. Wait a bit more. And yep, it already posted and the column has updated successfully. And let's just check the Instagram Reels first. So let's refresh this page right here. And let's go to the Reels section of this page. And boom, as you can see, the Hormozy Reel is right here. It says 24 seconds ago. And the audio and the captions, everything is working perfectly. So now let's go back to make.com, and it looks like the posted to YouTube Shorts column has been updated. So now let's actually go to YouTube right here, and let's go to my dashboard, actually go to my content, and let's go to the Shorts section, and boom, test video title, which was the video that we just posted. So let's go to the actual link of the YouTube video, and boom, the Hormozy Reel is right here. So everything is working perfectly. The title is right here, and yep. So yeah, that would be it for the second part of the automation, which was to create the Google Sheet filter to pick what shorts to actually post. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it really helped you, and I would really appreciate you leaving a comment or a like just so it favors the algorithm. And also let me know if you want a template for this automation, and as always, if you have any questions, leave them down below as well. I have way more cool ideas just like this one, so if you have an idea as well, again, leave it in the comments down below, and that would be it for today. Bye bye.